Hey guys, welcome to Postpartum Depression Part 2, how I got through it. So, welcome to Nesting with Mel. This is my channel. And today I'm going to talk about how I got through postpartum depression. But before that, I wanted to just mention two things that I wish I would have mentioned in my previous video. First of all, the midwives at the birthing center. I just wanted to say that they were amazing women. They didn't fail me. Well, there was some failure there. I think it was just the situation, but you can read my story if you want to know the gory details. But when you go to birthing center, the moms that deliver there, they're usually very well, they're healthy, they're mentally healthy. There's some that end up having depression because postpartum depression has no prejudice. It'll hit you. It'll hit women from like upper class that have tons of support to women who are in a lower economic bracket and are struggling. So yeah, you just don't know. So they did what they could, what they were trained. But one of the things, this is the second thing, is when I went there, I loved the midwife that I worked with. In fact, I'm friends with her. She wasn't present at my birth, and I really have this strong feeling that if she had been there, my story would be a little bit different. But that midwife, she hadn't had children. And I remember when I interviewed her, I really liked her and I wanted to go with her. But because she didn't have kids, I was like, there's like that thing. But I went anyways. I didn't listen to that. And it's funny because when I ended up in the hospital and the midwife at the hospital came to see me, she walked in and her motherly energy, I picked up on it. I was like, she's had kids, and turned out she had like 4 kids or something. And I knew it. Like, I knew in that moment when you are in labor does not, oh my gosh, you are never more present in your body and in everything like comes together than when you are about to birth another life on this planet. I've never experienced anything like that since maybe an orgasm during sex. But anyways, I diverge. That's how babies are made, by the way, in case you didn't know. Yeah, so I wish I would have followed my gut. Like, I really felt it in me. At the time, it was really important. Now it's not so much important. I do prefer to see midwives who have had children of their own. But, now that I've been there, it's different. But anyways, that's my point, is follow your gut. Like when I went and I saw the midwife in the hospital, I immediately became relaxed because I knew she'd been there. Not only was she a trained professional, she knew what she was doing. Not that the midwives at the birthing center didn't know what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. It just wasn't my style. The gal at the 2 midwives that I saw at the hospital, they were amazing. Both moms too. So that's what I was trying to say, is like, follow your gut. Like, listen to your gut. Please do. It'll save you heartache in the end. All right, so PPD, how did I get out of it? About a month into being back at work full time, I worked at a hospital. My office was in a building next to the hospital, and when I wanted to go and like pump, because I worked 2 days at home and then 2 days in the hospital, 40-hour days, actually 3 days. I worked 3 days at home and then 2 days at the hospital. So if I needed to pump, I had to go out of the building, walk across the courtyard, and then go into the hospital and go up to the 5th floor. That was where the employee pumping lounge was. And so I went up there, and while I was there to get the key or sign into the room, I ran into my OB. So I mentioned in the previous video that I had a surgery towards the in my maternity leave. I ended up having a surgery, and so I transferred my care to the OB, and she was a friend of mine. I used to work for her, and I trusted her a lot. And I ran into her at the nurse's station there, and she's like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? It's good to see you." And I said, normally I smile, put a smile on my face, and I'm like, "Yeah, things are going great. Motherhood is awesome. It's kind of crazy, but it's awesome." As I'm lying, because it's just like chaos and darkness in here. And she, I started to cry because I couldn't lie to her, and I started to cry, bawling, like right there at the nurse's station. And she put her hand on my shoulder and was like, "Honey, we can deal with this. We can fix this. You don't have to struggle. It doesn't have to be a struggle." And so she's like, "I can refer you to some therapists. I can write you a prescription. You can, if you want to schedule an appointment with me, we can talk about it and figure out what we need to do for you." Scheduling a freaking appointment while I'm working full time without childcare, it was just not an option. So I called. She's like, "Call my MA. I will tell her what to prescribe you if that's what you choose." And so I did. That evening I thought about it, and then I came home and I talked to my husband, and he's like, "Yeah, you need something." So I called them, and they called me a prescription. So I started taking medication. The first medication that she put me on did not work well. I ended up becoming crazier than normal. Like, I went from sleeping just 2 hours a night to not sleeping at all. And that led to like suicidal thoughts, and I ended up having a huge rash like all down my chest and my back. So I stopped taking that, and she called in Zoloft, and I was on Zoloft for probably like 3 years after that. But Zoloft helped. It really did help me. And then from there I ended up finding a therapist. One of the other things she did at my post-op visit, so like I had that surgery and then I saw her for my post-op, she wrote me a prescription for pelvic PT because that was her policy, that all women who had long labors and had significant tears, pelvic PT helped them heal through that. And because I went to pelvic PT, which it took a while for me to get into it because I didn't have care, I didn't have child care, and my parents were, in and out of town. Sometimes they could come help me, sometimes they couldn't. So I found a pelvic PT therapist right across the street from my work, so I could go right after work. So it was just like an extra hour that my husband had to watch my daughter since I was already gone. So it wasn't so bad. So I started seeing her, and the pelvic PT therapist, she recommended I do like yoga and Pilates, extra, workouts and stuff that strengthened my core, because when your core is strong, it also strengthens like your pelvic muscles. My muscles were just mush. So because of that, I started doing yoga at my local gym, and which I hate going to gyms, but the reason I was able to do that is because they had a child center, so I can drop my daughter off there for an hour and do a yoga class or Pilates class, which was fantastic. But that also, exercising regularly also helped my mental state, and I started sleeping better. And I would not have been able to even do that had I not taken Zoloft. So like Zoloft helped me get that do that next step for self-care, you know, and then, you know, to schedule my PT appointment. And then the exercises helped me feel better. So it just was like, it got better slowly. It was a very slow process, but it got better. So exercise, yoga, which yoga, there's, you know, a little bit of meditation, a little bit of you know, mindfulness, and actually a lot of mindfulness and breath work through yoga. And that was fantastic. And yeah, so self-care really, really helped me. And when I talk about self-care, I'm going to quote or paraphrase Glennon Doyle. If you know the author, activist Glennon Doyle, she wrote an awesome book called Untamed, which I think all women should read. I was listening to an interview with her, or maybe she was talking, it was like one of her Instagram videos, IGTV videos she did about self-care, and she couldn't have put it better. She's like, self-care isn't just like bubble baths, facials, and getting a pedicure. It's like, she compared it to a car. She's like, that kind of stuff, it's like polishing the car, like putting makeup, getting your hair done, getting a pedicure, manicure. That's like going in, you know, going to the car wash and getting a nice wax job, which is good. You know, it is part of self-care, but deep self-care is like going under the hood and getting that oil changed, and replacing those old hoses, and, you know, getting a tune-up, and giving the car a vacuum on the inside, you know, that sort of thing. And so I learned that through my postpartum depression journey. I learned that, you know, medication is good, but I needed to do more. So what was more that I did? Nutrition. I learned quickly that a good binge of Little Debbie's, which I'm not beyond that. I still have those. It's not as beneficial than making yourself a good tall glass of green juice. So I learned a lot about nutrition, of what kind of foods support your brain and your body, and a lot of greens, a lot of omega-3s, and I started incorporating foods like that in my diet regularly, not every day, but throughout the week. Try to eat one thing that supported my brain. So nutrition, sleep. Sleep. Oh my God. People, if you take nothing out of this video, sleep is so important for mental health. If you are not getting your whatever it is, and it has to be at least 7 hours. I don't care. I know there's people who's like, I can function on 4 hours of sleep. No, you can't. You think you can, but you can't. Your body needs more than that to recover. Your brain needs more sleep to flush out the toxins and the whatever, restart, you know. So sleep. And I am like a sleep advocate now. I fight for my sleep. Like I don't care. People can make fun of me. I really don't care. My mental health is very important. If I'm not mentally healthy, nothing works in my family. And I have my daughter I have to take care of. I have a husband. I have a career. Those are all important. And if I cannot do any of those if I am not getting my sleep. So, sleep. And I learned a lot of ways to make sure I get sleep. And I've gotten lazy over the last few years before this pregnancy. And I've been paying for it this pregnancy. My insomnia has gone out of control. But it's getting better. And thanks to my new elevated bed and Unisom right now. Although I don't have to take it every night anymore. I do sleep pretty well. So sleep, exercise, moving my body, that really, really helps me. So like today I got off work early and I took my daughter to this nature park down the street. We went for a little hike for 40 minutes. We both got our exercise. We were out in nature. For me, nature is so healing. Being out at the beach and in the mountains or at a park in the forest or by a river or a lake, just being outside in nature. Nature is so healing for the mind, body, and soul. And I try to get as much of that as I can. Also, getting help. So right after I passed my certification exam, so my daughter was about 8 or 9 months old by this point. Yeah, she was 8 months old. I realized I couldn't take care of her and work full time. Like, our family was falling apart. My husband hurt a lot mentally because he was trying to take care of her on the days I had to go into the office because he wasn't getting enough sleep. And he was getting depressed, which I'll probably do a video about postpartum depression and dads because it happens and my husband went through it and he suffered a lot. We both decided we had to put her in daycare. Like, we were trying to save money, and since I could work from home part-time, we were trying to make it work, but it wasn't working. It was draining both of us. We needed help. So I also got a therapist because, I needed help. And I put her in a daycare for 3 days a week. And it was really hard for me to be away from her and have strangers watching her, but those strangers quickly became my friends, and I'm so grateful for that daycare that she was in. I discovered my tribe and my support system. A lot of my friends now, my mom friends now that I made, came from that daycare. And it was like one of the best things I could have done, that because not only like, I had mom friends, but they were all stay-at-home moms, so they couldn't relate to what I was going through, working, depression, working full-time, trying to take care of my daughter and all this stuff. So I couldn't do play dates with them. Like, on the weekends we try to do like a play date here and there, but I couldn't do that because, hello, I worked. And then when I didn't work, I was tired as fuck. So, yeah, it was hard. But anyways, getting help really, really, really was important. So finding people to help, so for us, childcare was a big one. And then I got a therapist, and that really helped me a lot to talk through stuff. I also now, this is the thing I didn't mention in the last video, is my postpartum depression journey went on. I mean, I still am dealing with the effects of it 8 years later. So, like, I went through it that first year, but then I had waves the second year, and then I had waves the third year that I went through. And each of those was really difficult, but I got through it. And, yeah, like, you think that you're, you get over one wave and you're like, hey, I'm free. No, you know, sometimes it comes back. So nobody told me that. Although my OB, she did mention that when I stopped nursing that I could have another wave, and she was right, I did have another wave. But because she told me and I was aware of it, it wasn't as bad. Like each wave that I dealt with afterwards wasn't nearly as bad because I knew I dealt with a wave earlier and previously and I survived, and so I knew that I would survive the next one. And yeah, it really, awareness and knowing the symptoms. That's the thing, is like, people ask me, are you afraid that you're going to go through this again with this pregnancy, or, you know, after my baby boy comes? And I'm like, yeah, I could very well deal with it, but at least this time I know what the, like, I didn't know I was going through postpartum depression until until someone pointed, you know, a medical professional pointed it out. And this time around, my midwives at the hospital where I'm going at, they are very prepared. Like, they know my history. They did, which I guess this is standard now, they do like a mental health questionnaire at the beginning of their very first prenatal visit. So, and then they do one throughout their pregnancy until, you know, you have your postpartum. And yeah, so they're already, gosh, my necklace is backwards. Sorry. They're aware. So knowing that they are aware has definitely relieved a lot of the stress from my mind. So my video is getting really long, so I'm going to try to wrap it up. But one last thing I wanted to say is, now I also have tools in my box of things I know that helped me before and can help me now. And I have a support system to that I can call on, and I'm not afraid to ask for help. I was very afraid to ask for help when I was going through with my daughter, because I thought it was a sign of weakness, and I learned that no, it's not a sign of weakness, and it's actually a sign of strength, that you know yourself, that you're not afraid to ask for help. So some of the things I have, like a little list of go-to, like when I feel that I'm going down, spiraling down, there's a short list, well, it's actually a long list of short things, little things that I can do to help boost my spirits and my mood. And, you know, on that list is like, take a nap, go for a walk, go out in nature, have a cup of tea, color with your daughter, watch something funny, eat something that makes you happy, go visit a friend, go have a chat with a friend, that kind of thing. And having that list has really helped me when I'm starting to feel down. And if I can catch myself before I start spiraling, I'm able to come out of it faster and a little less pain. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. And if any of these things that I mentioned resonate with you, please, you know, let me know. Let me know if you've been through postpartum depression and what helped you. Leave a comment. This is not for me. This is for anyone else who watches this video. You are not alone. There is help out there. There is ways to get out of it. So I hope that you found this video helpful. Sorry, it is very long. I probably should have broken it in like 2 videos, but anyways. All right, take care, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.